Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Another hot day means brace for another night filled with heavy rain, lightning, and thunder.
Take a live look to the west. The Q2 iCam capturing that storm system as it rolls off the Beartooth Mountains, turning those sunny skies dark and dreary.
Q2 Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire busy in the Weather Center tonight. Bob, it feels like deja vu. It's like every day at this sort of time, hurry up, get your cars in and protect yourself from hail.
Do you realize that we've had showers and thunderstorms 11 out of 15 days so far in the Billings area?
Wow.
And if we get those showers tonight, could maybe 12 out of 15. So we still got some to go. So we'll see what happens. Let me show you what's happening out there right now. Doppler radar shows you this next line of showers moving in from Bozeman to Billings and also down by Sheridan, Wyoming. Take a look at that. Got some big cells down there as well. Those storms down in Wyoming are pretty big right now. Let me show you what's happening. What we do see is some big, strong thunderstorms moving into that area. Let me also click on this thing. We got to tell you that we have right now, I'm going to load this up for you. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning basically for parts of Sheridan County for 60-mile-per-hour winds and $half size hail according to that area from Sheridan on down to Buffalo. So we do have some big thunderstorms. We're expecting more storms to move in as the evening goes on, possibly maybe some more severe thunderstorms in the Billings area. We'll have more on that coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob.
Well, as we head into another round of storms across our region, other Montanans are picking up after strong systems ripped through Great Falls and Helena last night.
Check out this video from Great Falls. 60-mile-per-hour winds fraught with heavy rain and nickel-sized hail tore down trees and power lines in that process. Now, that display also destroying fences, roofs, and complete homes.
And now it's a waiting game between insurance and the next storm.
Now, the city of Helena says it's cleaning up more than 30 large branches after the weekend storms. Officials said more than 5 trees have fallen around the city within the last week. Crews are starting with the hanging branches that pose an immediate threat and then working on branches that have already fallen onto roadways and walkways.
A Gallatin County search and rescue team member was killed in a rockfall climbing accident yesterday on Mount Cowan in Park County. Travis Swanson was climbing with 2 other search and rescue members when he and another climber were swept downslope after a rock fall. Now, Park County Sheriff's Office and Gallatin County Search and Rescue were able to recover Swanson and rescue the other climber.
It wasn't their fault. There's things that you have no control over. They did an outstanding job, Jackson especially. He pretty much saved Will's life, and which is amazing in the circumstances that was happening. But you can't be too careful, but you also have things that are out of your control.
Well, Swanson was with the Gallatin County Search and Rescue for 12 years.
Montana Governor Steve Bullock now faces an ethics complaint. The state Republican Party filed that issue against Bullock over his use of Montana Highway Patrol officers for security as he campaigns for president. But as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, the governor had already taken steps to head off the criticism and controversy.
When Governor Bullock traveled to Iowa to kick off his presidential campaign in mid-May, he had his usual security detail of 2 Montana Highway Patrol officers. We reported then that the state Justice Department pays the bill for Bullock's security, whether he's campaigning or not. Within the next 2 weeks, a Republican Political Action Committee and the state GOP criticized the Democratic governor for campaigning on the public dime. And Republican Attorney General Tim Fox notified the governor that Highway Patrol officers would no longer accompany Bullock on campaign trips. And finally, last Friday, State GOP Chairman Don Kaltschmidt filed a formal ethics complaint with the State Political Practices Office, saying Bullock is violating the law by using state resources to campaign. But as of 2 weeks ago, the governor amended his security agreement with the Justice Department and said going forward his presidential campaign will pay any incidental expenses incurred by a security detail while he campaigns. Those include travel, lodging, and meal expenses. The governor's office says it does not include the officers' salaries because that cost will be paid anyways no matter what the governor is doing. Bullock's office also says it has asked the State Commissioner of Political Practices for an advisory opinion to make sure the arrangement meets state law. The Commissioner's office confirmed Monday it has received the ethics complaint and the governor's request, but had no further comment. We also asked if the governor's presidential campaign planned to reimburse the state for any incidental security costs incurred before the new agreement took effect. They said no, because that activity was under the old agreement, which says justice decides when to provide the security and pays for it. Governor Bullock was in Helena Monday at a meeting of the State Land Board and for a news conference on a mine cleanup project. But on Tuesday, he heads out for Washington, D.C., New York, and Iowa on another presidential campaign trip. And state security will be with him. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. Governor Bullock is one of 24 Democrats vying for the party's presidential nomination in 2020.
A federal magistrate judge is ordering the publisher of a major neo-Nazi website to pay a Whitefish woman more than $14 million in damages following threats made on the Daily Stormer page 2 years ago. Tanya Gersh filed the federal lawsuit in April of 2017, claiming Andrew Anglin had used his site to launch a troll storm against her. The online offensive came after the Whitefish community became embroiled in a debate over the white supremacist movement. She said her family had received more than 700 threats from Anglin and his followers, threats that have continued ever since. Last week, Gersh's attorneys pressed for a default judgment in the case after Anglin refused to respond to the court's orders. Today, federal magistrate judge Jeremiah Lynch ruled in favor of Gersh, saying Anglin must pay $14 million for Gersh's lost wages, damages, pain, and suffering, with $2 million of the award for future pain and suffering. The Southern Poverty Law Center says the ruling shows that this type of conduct is intolerable in a civil society.
Well, 2 mountain lion sightings over the weekend have people on high alert in the Billings Heights, Beneath the Rims, and near MSUB.
Q2's Zoe Zandora has the details and what you need to know.
Yeah, MSU Billings Police Department sent out a public safety advisory after a mountain lion was spotted here on Silver and Virginia Lane. Now, it's said to be, but it's not confirmed, that the same mountain lion was spotted up in the heights on Alkali Creek Road. Now, I spoke with Bob Gibson of Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and he says it's not unusual for mountain lions to be spotted this time of year because of little pets running around and outdoor activities. He does say, however, that it's a little more unusual for them to be spotted down here below the rims. So a couple tips just in case you do see one. Do not approach or run from the lion. He says also do not crouch or bend over. Try to appear larger than the lion and be vocal. He also says just be extra aware of your children and pets running around and make sure to put all your garbage away after all those summer activities. Back to you.
Thanks, Zoe.
And Bob Gibson also tells us that there have not been any other reports of the mountain lion since this weekend. But again, he reiterates, be safe, keep a lookout, and as Zoe mentioned, keep an eye on your animals and little ones.
A 4.0 earthquake that rattled a remote area north of Bozeman on Saturday reminds us that Montana is not immune. In fact, this state comes in at number 2 for earthquake risk, just behind California.
Yeah, but most people here don't have earthquake insurance. As MTN's Emma Hamilton found out, that's because it comes with a hefty price tag.
According to Gallatin County Emergency Management, Gallatin County is very prone to earthquakes. On the risk scale, Montana ranks just behind California, which is number 1, but just about 95% of Gallatin County doesn't have earthquake insurance. That's because it comes with a hefty price tag.
On some of them, it's as little as $500, and it can go over $1,000, just depending on the construction of your home and the value of your home. So it's not cheap, and it only covers earthquake insurance, where your home insurance covers just about everything else.
The epicenter of Saturday's earthquake was northwest of Manhattan with a 4.0 magnitude. Many felt the shake throughout Gallatin County, and it left many wondering what their options were when it comes to earthquake insurance.
In her case, the deductible started at 10%, so her home was insured for about $700,000 was the reconstruction amount. So 10% of $700,000 is $70,000. So you're out $70,000 before the insurance kicks in, and on top of that, it added about close to $1,000 a year to her insurance. So $1,000 extra dollars plus a $70,000 deductible. It makes it pretty rough.
Homex says with earthquake insurance, any damage caused by earth movement is covered. Reporting in Bozeman, Emma Hamilton, MTN News.
And Emma tells us that insurance agents tell her that they normally mention the earthquake insurance option to customers, but most decide to opt out.
Well, state, federal, and local leaders are celebrating the successful environmental restoration of an abandoned mine and nearby creek in the Cook City area.
Governor Steve Bullock held a briefing in Helena today to discuss the cleanup of the McLaren Mill and tailings site. Metal contamination from the site had leached into the Soda Butte Creek. For years, it was considered the most polluted stream entering the Yellowstone National Park area.
Between 2010 and 2014, Montana's DEQ's Abandoned Mine Lands program restored the site, removing tons of tailings, treating millions of gallons of water, and restoring the stream bed. Leaders say testing since then has shown a dramatic improvement in water quality. Now the creek is set to be removed from a list of impaired waters.
Without the help from our partners, the Forest Service, National Park Service, Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and DNRC, this project was just too big for one agency to take on itself. So that the work together that everybody did was just really critical to make this successful.
Well, this Thursday, the Beartooth Alliance, Montana DEQ, and the National Park Service will hold a celebration of the Soda Butte cleanup there in Cook City.
Well, folks traveling to Red Lodge for the annual Beartooth Rally this weekend should know about some road construction that could impact the ride.
Right now, construction is underway on a 1.6-mile stretch of Highway 212 in Roberts, but the Montana Department of Transportation says the road surface is still safe for those on motorcycles. MDT is advising travelers that there may be delays, but they likely won't be any more than 10 minutes around the construction site.
Now, construction is expected to be complete in November. The Beartooth Rally runs Thursday through Sunday.
All right, there is more news from across our state on the MTN 9 o'clock news. Here's a look ahead.
I'm Andrea Lutz. We're tracking all the big developing stories across the state of Montana. And Bob McGuire, he is back in on this Monday to get you your forecast. It's all coming up tonight on the MTN 9 o'clock news on the CW.
But first, on tonight's 5:30 news, we'll hear an inspiring story from one Montana girl whose life was changed thanks to help from the Shriners Hospital.
And in sports, one last glimpse into the future of a strong yet downsized Frontier Conference. The main question, where does it go from here? We'll answer that question and more coming up in just a bit.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.